GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. I'm Jordan Parker. Tonight we'll look at how Hope House is already changing lives for women and children, recap the Tiger Cats, nail-biting win over the Argonauts, and give you the latest on downtown traffic snarls near the Rogers Center. Over to you, Nathan.
The Kensington Market Summer Street Fair kicks off tomorrow, running all weekend with over 30 local vendors, live music stages, and a family-friendly cooking demonstration.
This year's fair adds a dedicated kids, craft zone, and a pop-up vintage record booth, drawing visitors from across the city.
Organizers expect attendance of up to 5,000 people daily, with free admission and a schedule of scheduled performances every hour from noon to 6.
We've got plenty to cover, so stay tuned as we dive into the day's stories together right now on our show. Good morning, Toronto.
Hope House, the rent-geared-to-income residence opened by St. Felix Center in July 2025, is now a steady home for women and children facing housing instability and domestic violence. Located in downtown Toronto, the supportive housing building offers affordable, long-term units that align with the city's broader affordable housing strategy. Staff report that families are moving from emergency shelters into stable apartments, gaining space to rebuild lives. City officials say the project helps Toronto meet its supportive housing targets, while the broader system still turns away many shelter seekers each month. As the program continues, partners from the city and community groups monitor occupancy and support services to ensure residents receive both safe housing and wrap-around assistance. Hope House stands as a concrete step toward expanding long-term options for the city's most vulnerable families.
Saturday night in Hamilton, the Tiger Cats edged the Argonauts 24-23 in a nail-biting finish. Quarterback Treeford threw for 218 yards, guiding the home side through a back-and-forth battle that came down to the final play. The victory was sweeter for Hamilton, which had entered the contest without an official practice earlier in the week. Toronto fought hard, tying the game late before a late field goal sealed the win for the visitors. The final scoreboard showed the Tiger Cats with 24 points and the Argonauts with 23, a difference decided by a single conversion in the closing minutes. Fans at Tim Hortons Field cheered as the Tigers held on for the 1-point margin, keeping their rivalry alive and improving their standing in the league. The close loss leaves the Argonauts looking to bounce back next week as the CFL season rolls on.
Sandy Brindello, the head coach of the Toronto Tempo, will sit out the team's Monday night game after the league handed him a 1-game suspension for remarks made about player Reese. The disciplinary action leaves the Tempo without a head coach as they head into a crucial matchup at home, hoping to snap a 2-game losing streak that has dampened their early season momentum. Assistant coach Jenna Morales will assume interim duties on Monday, tasked with preparing the squad and maintaining the game plan amid the sudden leadership void. League officials said the suspension reflects a zero-tolerance stance on comments deemed inappropriate, though they declined further detail. The Tempo, currently 9th in the conference, will look to rebound against the visiting Vancouver Vipers, with the outcome likely influencing their playoff positioning.
Yesterday at about 1:30 p.m., a single-vehicle collision on the southbound ramp of the Don Valley Parkway just before it merges with the westbound Gardner Expressway ended with a car flipping onto its roof. Emergency crews arrived quickly, extracted the driver, and secured the scene. Police confirmed the driver, a woman, was arrested on suspicion of impaired driving. The incident underscores the dangers of impaired operation on one of downtown's busiest highways. No other vehicles were involved and no injuries were reported beyond the driver's brief hospitalization for precautionary checks. Officers are conducting standard breath and blood tests while the vehicle is towed for further investigation. Traffic was briefly rerouted and normal flow resumed within an hour. The Toronto Police Service noted that impaired driving charges carry mandatory penalties, including license suspension and possible vehicle impoundment.
Yesterday, the Toronto Blue Jays celebrated the unveiling of a new bronze statue honoring outfielder Joe Carter, positioned outside the Rogers Center. The monument captures Carter mid-swing, the iconic moment that clinched the 1992 World Series for Toronto. Fans gathered for a short ceremony, with former teammates and city officials on hand to commemorate the back-to-back championships of 1992 and 1993. The statue joins a growing collection of public art around the stadium, reinforcing the franchise's historic legacy. Blue Jays management said the tribute reflects the enduring impact of Carter's walk-off home run, a memory that still resonates with supporters across the city. The unveiling adds another landmark to the waterfront venue, offering visitors a tangible reminder of the team's golden era. Standing about 12 feet tall, the sculpture faces the main entrance, where fans can snap photos during games.
Later, we'll check the tornado warnings that were briefly issued for southern Ontario and more after the break. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right into the stories that matter, starting with our local roundup. Nathan Cole, take it away.
Yesterday, tornado warnings flickered across southern Ontario before being lifted later in the afternoon. Meteorologists had flagged the risk as part of routine severe weather alerts when atmospheric conditions suggested a possible vortex. The brief alerts prompted schools and businesses in the Greater Toronto Area to monitor updates, and a handful of commuters delayed trips to avoid potential hazards. Emergency services stood ready, but the warnings were withdrawn after scans showed no rotation developing. Residents who had postponed outdoor gatherings or checked windows reported a quick return to normal activity by early evening. Officials reminded the public that such alerts are precautionary, designed to give people time to secure property and stay informed. With the storm system moving eastward, no further tornado advisories are expected for the remainder of the week.
Premier Doug Ford arrived in Thunder Bay yesterday as the province grappled with an unprecedented surge of wildfires. Officials confirmed nearly 200 blazes burning across northern Ontario, prompting mass evacuations in several communities. Ford met with municipal leaders and emergency responders, touring the evacuation center where displaced families are receiving shelter and supplies. He emphasized the provincial government's commitment to mobilize additional resources, including fire crews and air support to contain the flames. Smoke from the conflagrations has blanketed much of the province, reducing air quality and prompting health advisories. The premier also announced a coordinated effort with neighboring provinces and U.S. agencies to monitor the spread and protect vulnerable populations. Residents are urged to stay informed as the situation evolves. Power lines in remote towns have been shut down as crews create fire breaks, and road closures are in effect on key highways linking the north to the south.
Environment Canada will lift the air quality warning that has hung over the Greater Toronto Area today after a week of dense smoke. The advisory, issued in response to lingering haze from regional fires, has kept schools, outdoor workers, and commuters on alert. Officials note that pollutant levels have fallen below the threshold that triggered the warning, allowing the agency to stand down the alert. Residents can expect clearer skies as the agency's monitoring network shows a steady decline in particulate matter. The removal of the warning also means that outdoor activities such as jogging, cycling, and weekend picnics can resume without the health precautions that were in place. Health officials will continue to advise people with respiratory sensitivities to stay informed, even as the air improves across the city today.
Toronto Tempo rolled past the Atlanta Dream with a 111-92 victory on Tuesday night. The Tempo built a solid lead in the first half, then pulled away after halftime, stretching the gap to nearly 20 points by the third quarter. Guard Maya Collins led the scoring with 24 points, while forward Jasmine Lee added a double-double, contributing 14 rebounds. Atlanta's coach Sandy Brindello tried to keep the game close, but turnovers in the second half limited the Dream's chances. The win improves Toronto's standing in the Western Conference and gives fans another reason to fill the arena on weekends. Fans cheered loudly as the scoreboard flashed the final numbers, creating an electric atmosphere. With the season halfway through, the Tempo's strong finish could boost ticket sales and keep local supporters engaged through the next stretch of games.
Yesterday, the City of Toronto and the Toronto District School Board confirmed that a redevelopment plan for a downtown public site has been paused. The proposal called for a community hub featuring a swimming pool, gym, concert hall, and movie theater, but disagreements over which agency holds title to the land have stalled progress. Both parties said the uncertainty prevents any construction or financing steps from moving forward. Officials noted the site is considered prime public land, and the deadlock leaves the community without the promised amenities for the foreseeable future. The city's planning department and the school board have been instructed to resolve the ownership question before the project can resume, but no timeline has been set. Local families had been looking forward to the new facilities, which were slated to serve schools and seniors alike. The delay also pushes back anticipated job creation for construction crews and staff.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what the sky has in store this afternoon.
A westward jet and falling pressure are priming Toronto for a clear but subtly shifting afternoon. On this date, the all-time high reached 35.2 degrees Celsius in 2022, when a lingering ridge pushed scorching air deep into the basin. The record low of 13.5 degrees Celsius fell in 2003, a product of an Arctic surge that briefly overturned the summer pattern. By contrast, the climatological normals sit near 23 for the high and 13 for the low, underscoring how today's modest warmth sits well below the historic peak, yet comfortably above the cold record. The live radar shows a blank canvas across southern Ontario, with no echo returning from the lake or the interior. A high-pressure dome aloft and the gentle westward jet keep moisture locked out, allowing the sun to dominate. With the next disturbance still a day away, precipitation will not touch the city today. That clears the way for a straightforward afternoon, so let's move to the day's outlook. At noon, Toronto sits at 19 degrees Celsius under a clear sky, humidity around 74% and a light north wind at 9 kilometers per hour. Pressure is near average but beginning to fall, signaling an unsettled system that will creep eastward later this evening. Overhead, the jet stream races west to east at 120 kilometers per hour, steering any future disturbances away for now. The UV index reads 7, while winds remain modest, peaking at 12 kilometers per hour from the northwest. No weather alerts are in force. Temperatures will climb to 22 by mid-afternoon and hold steady into the evening, with sunset expected just before 9 o'clock. With the sky staying clear, we can now glance at the 5-day outlook. Monday brings a modest high of 23 and a low of 12, but cloud cover will thicken, giving a 20% chance of rain by late afternoon. Tuesday heats up to 26 with a low of 18 and the atmosphere will retain plenty of moisture, lifting the rain probability to 60% and bringing intermittent showers. Wednesday clears dramatically, returning to a high of 21 and a low of 14 under bright skies. Thursday stays dry and warm, with a high of 24 and a low of 14, perfect for outdoor plans. Friday caps the stretch with the warmest day, reaching 27 at its peak and a low of 17, all under clear conditions. The pattern shifts from a brief wet spell early in the week to a dry, warming trend by weekend. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic snarled downtown near the Rogers Center. The Chamber just opened its new headquarters, and the Blue Jays Way continues tonight. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Heavy congestion is choking downtown Toronto after a cascade of event-related closures. Lakeshore Boulevard West is shut between Bathurst Street and British Columbia Road, pushing drivers onto the Gardiner and nearby arterials. Strachan Avenue is blocked from Lakeshore West to East Liberty Street, cutting a key north-south link near the stadium. Exhibition Place and surrounding streets remain closed, adding pressure to the Gardiner. Fleet Street is closed to general traffic as a temporary streetcar hub from Angelique Street to Strachan Avenue. Front Street West is also blocked for Import Fest, from Blue Jays Way to Lower Simcoe Street and John Street, then to Wellington Street West. These closures are feeding slow traffic and frequent stop and go on the Gardiner, King and Queen corridors. There are no reported transit delays, so subways and streetcars run on schedule. Expect the afternoon rush to stay sluggish, and consider alternate east-west corridors such as Danforth Avenue.
Toronto International Film Festival rolls out 5 special presentations, giving you a sneak peek at the season's boldest stories while the city buzzes with celebrity chatter. If you're craving a laugh, heated rivalry bursts onto the stage as a musical parody that skewers classic rivalries with catchy tunes, perfect for a quick night out. For a taste of Latin heat, the Salsa on St. Clair Festival keeps the streets alive with live bands, dance lessons, and street food, reminding us why summer in Toronto feels endless. Looking ahead, the One Harp World Gala returns on July 28 and July 30, offering 4 unforgettable evenings that celebrate the harp's soaring sound, an elegant escape for anyone who loves live music. Whether you're catching a film, sharing a joke, moving to salsa, or planning a future concert night, the city's cultural pulse is right at your doorstep. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Here's the latest on Toronto's Blue Jays, Argonauts, and a special tribute. The Blue Jays confirmed the passing of Hall of Fame reliever Dwayne Ward at 62. Ward, remembered for his dominant late-inning work in the early 2000s, was a beloved figure in Toronto baseball. The club shared the news early Sunday, offering condolences to his family. Sportsnet will continue its Blue Jays Way documentary Sunday evening, spotlighting the franchise's 50-year journey. Part 2 streams at 8 p.m. Eastern, offering fans deeper looks at historic moments and personalities that shaped Toronto baseball. Tune in for the next chapter of the celebration. In a dramatic CFL finish, the Toronto Argonauts fell short as kicker Liram Hadjiallahu missed a 31-yard field goal on the final play. The Hamilton Tiger Cats seized the opportunity, edging the Argonauts 24-23 on Saturday night.
Zip in downtown Toronto just unveiled its new headquarters at 123 Front Street. The space is 4 times larger than the company's former Toronto office and now ranks as Zip's second biggest location worldwide, behind only San Francisco. With the move, Zip is gearing up to nearly triple its headcount by early 2026, hiring a wave of early career sales talent, commercial account executives, and engineers. The expansion turns the downtown core into a tech training hub, giving fresh graduates a place to launch careers right here at home. For Toronto, that means more high-paid jobs staying in the city and a stronger reputation as a North American innovation corridor. Stay tuned for a heartwarming look at Hope House, celebrating its first year of support for women and children across the city.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local Sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Toronto's iconic Big on Bloor Festival returns for its 20th anniversary, turning Bloordale Village into a car-free celebration of music, food, and local art. Crowds are gathering along Bloor Street West between Dufferin and Lansdowne, and the streets are buzzing with live performances and family-friendly activities. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on Bloor Street West between Dufferin and Lansdowne, where the usual rush of cars has vanished, replaced by a kaleidoscope of banners, food trucks, and a sea of people strolling under a canopy of painted murals. The Big on Bloor Festival is in full swing, celebrating its 20th anniversary with a car-free takeover that feels more like a neighborhood block party than a city event. Live brass bands spill from a repurposed shipping container stage, while the scent of sizzling kebabs mingles with fresh coffee from a pop-up espresso bar. Kids chase bubbles near a towering sculpture made from reclaimed bicycle parts, and a local artist leads a mural painting workshop right on the curb. Food stalls offer everything from Jamaican jerk tacos to vegan poutine, and the crowd sways to a mix of indie folk and Afrobeat rhythms. This celebration turns Bloordale into a living gallery, reminding us how public space can bring a community together. Carl Dumont, virtually at Bloordale Village, Bloor St. W.
On a breezy Thursday morning along the winding banks of the East End Creek near Danforth Avenue, a small crew in bright orange vests gathered with hoses and containment booms. The spill, an unexpected rush of polymer-based slurry from the Scarborough subway extension, had turned a section of the water a murky teal, startling joggers and families who pause on their walks. Metrolinx's rapid response team arrived within hours of the city's report on July 8, setting up a temporary filtration system that hissed as it pulled the thick mixture from the stream. By midday, the crew, aided by local volunteers wielding handheld pumps, watched the water clear, revealing the familiar glide of minnows that had hidden beneath the sludge. A young girl, her sneakers splashing in the shallow edge, pointed excitedly at a darting fish, saying, "It's back." That simple moment of life returning reminded everyone that a coordinated effort can protect the neighborhood's natural spaces. As the sun dipped low, the creek flowed clean again, a quiet testament to community resilience and responsible stewardship.
On a crisp Tuesday morning in downtown Toronto, the marble lobby of the Fairmont on University Avenue hummed with the rustle of newspapers and the scent of fresh coffee. Minister Stan Cho, recently scrutinized for billing hotel stays despite his downtown residence, entered for a brief press briefing. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city's skyline glimmered, a reminder of the community he serves. Cho announced he would step down from his cabinet post, and a small group of local artists and cultural volunteers gathered nearby responded with quiet applause. He said the controversy had highlighted the need to lead by example, and he would devote his energy to the neighborhood theater that first sparked his love for the arts. After the briefing, a teenage playwright handed him a handwritten note thanking him for the promise of a new mentorship program. The decision turned a contentious headline into a hopeful chapter for Toronto's cultural landscape, showing how accountability can open doors to fresh collaboration. It's a reminder that even in tough moments, the city's spirit can lift us all.
Thanks for joining us, Toronto. Tonight's highlight, watching the Blue Jays unveil the Joe Carter statue at the Rogers Centre, reminded us all of our city's proud moments. I'm Jordan Parker, and I look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow at noon. Stay safe, stay curious, and see you then.